Whoa, what is going on, guys? Carter here with Edge Mindset. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Whoa, what are you saying you haven't done that yet? What do you mean you haven't done that? Well, do that right now. Pause this video, go down, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I'm trying to see how obnoxious I can be with those reminders. I think I've hit like critical mass with the annoying YouTuber telling you to go like, comment, subscribe. That might be it. That's my crescendo. That's my swan song, so to speak, of obnoxious YouTuber-isms. I don't know. We're taking a look at the Dixon from McNees Knives. I've always said it incorrectly, I think. McNees. now I'm mixing Neves Knives and McNees. McNees Knives, Dixon. So, oh man, I love this thing. I'm going to talk about it, though. I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, this does somewhat look like the Spyderco Slice buoy. A lot of people pointed that out in my unboxing. You know, kind of, yeah. I mean, it does kind of, especially the handle. It's very similar shape. It has this simple contour here. The blade, oh man, it's not dissimilar, but it's not similar, if that makes sense. It's similar, but not the same. I think what's going to happen is as soon as we start getting these with different milling and things like that on there, that comparison will slowly start fading away. I think it's mainly the handle shape, which, you know, handles on knives can only be shaped so many different ways in order for a blade to fit in it. But it's this kind of contoured, simple, smooth handle, I think, is what's really bringing up those comparisons. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what you guys think here. This is a very large knife. Here it is compared to the MagnaCut 3.5. So prior to this knife, this was the largest folding knife that McNees did in their production line. This is actually a production version of an older custom that Jonathan McNees used to do back in, I think, 2008, 2009, something like that. They scaled it up, modified it a little bit, and threw it into the production line recently, maybe end of 2024, maybe 2025. I don't know if this was in 2024. It's a newer model, came out not too long ago. Very, very cool. I like it. So let's do sizes on this. Let's do some measurements. Let me grab my Loctite up measuring tape here. 3 3/4. Yeah, this is a big boy. Almost 8.5 inches. Pretty crazy how 3 3/4 is a giant knife now. You can see how trends have changed. I remember, 3 3/4 inch blade, it's always been a fairly big blade, but I remember when, if it was under 4 inches, it was considered a gentleman's carry. Maybe not quite that, but close to that, you know. Times have changed. Here it is next to the Kunwu Excalibur. Absolutely love this knife. Love both of these knives. Really, really like both of these knives. Very similar in size. The Dixon just has, you know, a little bit on it. A little bit of length, a little bit of girth on it. Yeah, you're going to get all kinds of those jokes with this knife. That is for sure. What else we got? Got the Prince Customs Protein here, obviously much larger. Man, that's a sexy blade. I got some real heavy hitters out in front of me here. Now that I say that, okay, I ran out of all the heavy hitters, but let's do the Geoknife Ethereal here. You can see it compared to that. Let's do, yeah, of course, Paramilitary 2. How could I forget that? That is the go-to for me. It's got some size on the Para 2. It's got some width on that Para 2 as well, as you can see right there. Yeah, it actually, like this is about the same as that. However, with the Dixon, you're kind of getting a much taller blade as well. And way more cutting length. Well, maybe not way. I guess it depends on your definition of way, but considerably more cutting length on that. But it's also, you know, just larger overall. Let's do a weight. This is not a lightweight knife. They've done things, you know, McNees has done things to lighten it up, but it is hefty. 5.4 ounces. And that is because, not exclusive to, but you can see how thick this blade stock is. Compare it to, once again, the Paramilitary 2. Very, very similar in terms of blade stock, but with this, you've got just more material, right? It is not a full flat grind. It's a 3/4 hollow ground blade, whereas this is a full flat grind and it kind of tapers down to a tip. This is not supposed to be a comparison between those two knives, so I will put that away. MagnaCut steel, McNees uses that almost exclusively. Pretty much everything they do. MagnaCut steel, heat treated to 62 to 63, I believe, HRC. So pretty dang good, made in the USA. This is a pretty deep hollow grind. It gets very thin and slicey here. Thickens up a little bit to the tip. Really, really done nicely. Really nicely. And here's a lot of people are scared of like half ground, 3/4 ground blades that are hollow ground. And I think if you tried one out, you'd be surprised how well they cut. For some reason, we've gotten into this idea where it's got to be full flat grind or else it'll just bind on material. It won't cut anything. If you get it nice and thin behind the edge with a good hollow grind right here, this sucker will slice like a dream. Now, of course, the fact that it does hit this ledge right here, it could affect a little bit of cutting as you slice through material. But for regular use, for regular Joes, this thing is going to cut like a dream. It is razor sharp. Really like that acid wash on the blade there. You've got the the way to get around the Spidey hoe. What's a Spidey hoe? Man, Mary Jane would be upset about Spidey hoe. Way to get around the legality of the hole. I believe the custom version of the Dixon had the Spidey hole. He didn't want to license that or couldn't license it, and so he modified it into kind of this cool, like upside down umbrella looking shape that matches this hump right there. Looks pretty interesting, looks pretty cool, but it works like phenomenally. Works way better than I expected. Like your finger just settles right in that arch right there, and the action on this knife, and by action, not only do I mean the smooth drop shuttiness, the acoustics on this thing are amazing. You get some, I'm not going to say they're tings, but you get like some sings. You get some really nice acoustics on this knife. I was very surprised about that. And your finger, or at least my finger, goes in just enough, right? It feels so good. Just the tip. The tip goes in and it just flies open. And it is, it's so nice. It's a very, very nice experience. Sharpening choil right there. Really good plunge lines. Could they be a little sharper? Yeah, I guess. You could say that about a lot of things, but done really well. Nice and sharp all the way to the edge there. Plenty of room for sharpening and things like that. So very, very cool. Let's see. What is the... Yeah, so the stop pin is nowhere near, right? Like it hits right there. You can see the mark right there. So it is not going to interfere with your sharpening of this knife whatsoever. Like I mentioned before, you've got titanium contoured scales right there that look really, really nice. This has that beautiful kind of green. You can kind of see the micro milling if you hit the light just right. Stonewash over the top. I know some people are going to complain about the small pivot. They basically just use the same hardware that they use on the Mac 2, which already is not an overly sized pivot, but it definitely kind of looks small on here. Doesn't bother me at all. I think it somehow works. I don't know. Let me know down below your opinion. Do you think it looks weird to have kind of smaller hardware? Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's just I've seen enough oversized hardware that it doesn't bother me at all. We'll see. I don't know. You've got stop pin right there. I think it's the same. Yep, same stop pin, right? So reusing hardware, right? Way to save money. That way you're machining or purchasing all the same hardware for both knives. I know some people don't like how small this stop pin is. It is on the smaller side. Like I said, same thing on the Mac 2 here. Never heard of any issues from anybody. Never seen it cause any, with use, any sort of movement of the blade moving back or any sort of lockup things or anything like that. No issues that I've heard of whatsoever. And definitely, you're not going to damage that, right? This is completely shouldered between two thick pieces of titanium that it is inset precisely and on both sides. It's not like that's going to bend even with extreme force. And, the amount of force it would take to damage that, you would be obliterating your blade. So, yeah, not an issue, but who knows? I would like to see that a little bit beefier if I could have my way. You've got the thick cut lock bar, just like this. I mean, it's, you know, it's the same stuff, right? It's done in the same machine shop. The design language is very similar. Even the shape of this cut right here is pretty much the same. One thing I found kind of interesting is I don't know why the machining in here kind of goes around that pivot right there. This really could just come all the way across the top, because you can see how small that lock interface is right there. Now, usually you see this with internal stop pins because it has to kind of make it all the way around. But you can see there's nothing in there. It's just empty space. And it's the same thing on this Mac 2. So I don't know if it was done because that's how it needed to be machined, or he just liked the way the blade blanks looked. But there's really no reason for all of this to be machined out of here that I can think of. I mean, doesn't need to clear anything. So, I mean, I guess maybe this cutout here, is that what it is? Yeah, I guess maybe that's what it is. If this came straight across, you would kind of run into issues with getting this lock bar so high up. You'd have to move this up, which then would probably get in the way of the stop pin here. So that's what it is. All right, I just answered my own question. In order to kind of get it to work with where he has the stop pin and using a single stop pin for the open and closed, you had to have this lock face set here so it doesn't bump into it. See how it's barely clearing that? And if you left it where it is and then filled in material up here, then this lock bar would not be able to clear past it. You can see how they had to do this divot here just to get around that hump inside there. So that's why. I just answered my own question. I just nerded out and figured out why it was kind of built the way it was. By the way, we're 12 minutes in. I do have one issue with this knife. Should have said this at the beginning. That would have been a good, catch you. I bet most people have bailed by now. My average view time on videos is like 3 minutes, so definitely most people have bounced. But there is one issue with this knife that really bugs me, and we'll talk about it here in a second. Really nice finishing across the whole thing. Everything is chamfered. At first glance, I thought it was going to be like a little bit harsher edges. It almost seemed like it wasn't finished when I saw the prototype and the pictures, but now that I own one, that's not the case at all. It has a good amount of lock bar tension, which McNees is known for in all his knives. You can adjust that out if you want. The only problem is it's going to kind of lighten up that detent. Not that that's a huge issue, because the detent is nice and snappy. It is amazing how drop shutty this blade is when it has that much lock bar tension. And I don't mean insane amount of lock bar tension, but it's got, it takes a little bit of force to unlock this thing, and it's got a really snappy detent. And usually when you add that much tension, right, that's pushing that detent ball on that blade. Oftentimes it'll kind of slow down the action a little bit, but not on this. Some of that probably has to do with how heavy that blade is, but I think it's just how well it's finely tuned. And this thing is so smooth. The action on this is fantastic, both flicking, the acoustics, and just how this thing floats shut. You've got titanium hardware with matching anodization. Everything is nice and clean. The issue I have is with the pocket clip, and not the pocket clip tension, not the placement. This corner right here is pretty sharp, and when I open this knife and then I reposition to grip it, this tends to kind of catch just right on the meat of my hand right there. And you feel it, right? And if you're wearing gloves, it kind of gets caught on it. It's not like a deal breaker. It's not terrible. It's not agonizing. But it's also one of those things that's so easy to fix. Just round this corner off. Just like that. Just take this edge off and you're good to go. That's my only complaint with this knife. Other than that, lock bar tension's really good. Goes in and out of the pocket. You got plenty of space. It's a milled pocket clip, but it's done really thin. So it kind of has the ease and smoothness of a bent titanium pocket clip, but the class of a milled pocket clip, which is very, very nice. Overall, what I'd say about this knife is it's bigger, chunkier than I was expecting, and I really, really like that. I like how wide it is. I like how big it is. Aside from the pocket clip, it is very, very comfortable. And once you get positioned correctly, it's not uncomfortable. It's only when you kind of move into position, you might snag this edge right there a little bit. Very, very comfortable. If I'm just doing this, I can squeeze it all day long, no issues. Very simple design. No lock bar stabilizer, no lock bar insert, nothing like that. Just a very clean, smooth chonker of a beautiful knife. By the way, running on bearings, obviously, if you can't tell with how it's dropping shut so beautifully. Very nice. So, yeah, what do you guys think? What do you think of the McNees Dixon? Comment down below if you like this knife or not. Until the next video, I'm out. Take care. Thank you, guys. You're awesome. Bye.